a senior lecturer from Department of Landscape, Faculty of Design, Architecture, UPM. I'll be a moderator for today's special webinar. Okay, welcome and thank you to you all to ever spare your valuable time to participate in this special WACANAREKA named Intellectual Property and Commercialization, a one-day route for the university researcher. So this webinar organized by the Office of Deputy Dean, Research and Innovation, and along with the Faculty Coordinator, Innovation Coordinator, Dr. Khairul Manani Kamarudin from Faculty of Design and Architecture, UPM. We applaud them for their effort and to organize this special webinar. Right. So before we start, let me briefly introduce our distinguishing guests. We are so honored to have Mr. Irfan Awang here to be with us today to share his insight in this interesting topic. Right. So Mr. Irfan is a founder and a CEO of a Patents World International Sdn Bhd. A chemical engineer by profession, Irfan was well versed with the chemical engineering. He worked as a process engineer in a large palm oil company for a couple of years and joined one of the Malaysia's most reputable law firms. All right. So this is where he learned valuable intellectual property experience, helping clients in patent, trademark, industrial design, copyright, layout design of integrated circuit, geographical indication, and plant or variety protection. He has attended and conducted numerous international conferences and seminars, as well as the intellectual property courses, where he speaks frequently on the subject of patent practice, interpretation of patent claim, patent search, trademark, industrial design, copyright, and other intellectual property topics. He also a panel judge for the intellectual property evaluation, business pitching, and as an advisor, identification of patentable invention, patent specification drafting, preservation of Malaysia and overseas patent application, trademark, industrial design, copyright, and intellectual property, commercialization, and enforcement. So hence, Mr. Irfan is the right person with the exceptional, knowledgeable, professional, and approachable to these intellectual property topics. All right. So the webinar outline should be in two parts. All right, the first part, he will introduce on what is intellectual property. And on the second part of the webinar, he will discuss on the commercializations of the intellectual property, possible with the real case project application related to the university research work. All right, so before I hand over the floor to Mr. Irfan, there's a special instruction during the webinar. So the first, there will be a question and answer session open throughout the sessions and to the end of the webinar session, and please share some of your thought and ask questions to the speaker directly, or you may also ask in a chat box. I will read it out to Mr. Irfan. Right. On the second instruction, the host will share a registration link in a chat box during the webinar session. Please click the link and fill it up, and the host will send an e-certificate of the event. So please fill up the registration form. All right, and the third instruction, which is most important, Mr. Irfan have prepared a quick survey for us to use for today's discussion. And please, I hope all of you to find the attached in the chat box, and appreciate all of you can answer this quick survey prepared by Mr. Irfan, which is he will use it for the following session afterwards. All right. So I believe this topic will be an eye-opener and a new knowledge to us to involve in the research work, to commercialization of intellectual property on our research work. So take this opportunity to lend your tentative ear throughout the webinar sessions and do ask the speaker to clear your thoughts and queries. So to that, please welcome the speaker, Mr. Irfan. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adam, for the wonderful introductions, and thank you for moderating the session today. Okay, we would like to thank especially to the FRSB UPM for organizing this wonderful webinar where they call it Special WACANAREKA. Actually, the name WACANAREKA is very interesting, and it's like for me, oh, this is very interesting word you could have, WACANAREKA. Maybe we can file some check mark for it and then see how whether it can become a signature for SRB of doing this webinar from this point onwards. And I would like also to express our gratitude to Dr. Yazid and Dr. Karamanami for having us today. And inshallah, we try our best to share with you our little experience in intellectual property and commercialization. At this point in time, so I would like to thank you to all the participants for your commitment, for your time, despite your busy schedule, for allocating some of your time during this Berkat Friday, okay, for this webinar. So, as been detailed introduced by Dr. Adam, my name is Irfan, and I'm from Patent Sword International Sdn. So today, we have been discussing this topic with Dr. Manami and her team a lot. What are the message that we want to convey, pada semua peserta? What is it? Is it going to be a typical IP talk, a typical commercialization talk? I think you already have so many of them already dekat UPM. Even PSP have played their active roles, in providing a lot of equip all of you with a lot of information, knowledge, and experience as best as they can. So today, we decided to come from different angle to give some insight from perhaps the blind spot that have not been taken by any of us. Okay, so you might have gone through various webinars, the legal term of the IP, the commercialization, the typical way of doing that, etc. But I know some of them are not so clear to you. So hari ini, we're going to bring you a different perspective and maybe a quick reality check. We see how whatever have been done before all this while for the past many years, betul ke what we have done. So now IP and commercialization has been a hit lah. Okay, not long time ago, not so very recently, but for past few years, and UPM is one of the champion in IP and commercialization. Okay, so we have the topic today: a widening growth or journey for university researchers. Betul ke? Is it true? Is it so twisted? Is it the journey so troublesome? Is it the journey is not something that you're going to take in future? Or maybe after this webinar, it's something that can give you some insight whether or not. Yeah, I think we should pursue. We have invented this. We have 3 patents on this already, and we have industrial design for this, but it's still there. We don't know how to commercialize. It's not easy to commercialize all these things. Okay. So a big introduction about the firm. Patent Sword is an IP boutique firm. We focus on intellectual property, prosecution, and so on, maintenance of IP, strategy, corporate, and so on for the Patent Sword. Kita buat semua. So very recently this year we introduced Antares Academy. Okay, this is academy that focus on education, training, commercialization of IP, as well as strategic corporate management. So right now Antares Academy is helping a lot of local entrepreneurs, especially in this pandemic, to build up not just a business, but build up also the human capacity, build up also grooming parts on the product, grooming involving the personnel, grooming the business and the entity, and grooming the team. Okay, so this is the group of patents that we have now. So feel free to browse around the website. Okay, and jika ada apa-apa yang we can help you, just ping us. Inshallah, our team will be able to help you. Okay, so today this is the outline for the presentation of the day, but I'm not going to go through very structured way of doing presentation. So this is a very casual on Hari Jumaat, this is the last day of the working day today. It's going to be very casual and going to be like a very cendol type. So kita makan cendol, we like to have it all blending together. So with this blending, we can enjoy the cendol so well compared to you eat the big beans separately, the cendol separately, the ice separately. So today would be like a cendol where you have everything, IP and commercialization in one bowl, and also at the same time, it's tasty. Okay, and you're not going to have something that we used to have it structured, but I don't say that it works for this topic lah. So we have to be bold, brave, and we took up this. We decided to use this gentle way of conveying the message to all of you. Okay. So if you have any questions, okay, just feel free to interject the session. Introduce yourself, identify yourself, and what's the questions. Maybe you can raise the hand icon over there, and then Dr. Adam will help pick out the questions and so on, moderate the session. Okay. Or if you malu, okay, you can just put in the chat box there over there, and then we will pick up your question from time to time. Okay. So as been mentioned earlier on, we have a very quick survey to see how our participants today, where they are at in terms of intellectual and commercialization. So yeah, the three of you have completed the survey. So just go to the links that we have shared in the chat box. Perhaps the host can share it one more time for the benefit of a new participant coming in. Okay, and then it's a very quick question. There's something to break the ice that we already have now. And kita tengok sama ada soalan jawapan kepada apa yang kita buat tu betul atau tak, ataupun kena atau tak dengan the situasi especially involving intellectual property and commercialization. Okay, so I believe UPM or FRSB team can do this way much faster. Okay, we have we're going to allocate our 5 minutes for this, or maybe less than that. I think you guys are great. So in very short of time, just click je kan. Okay. Not many, they're very simple questions about trademark, commercialization, and some quick survey on your familiarity with intellectual property. And then we also have some questions on university product. So we have to see, okay, our participants today, how they, to what are our levels now. Kita nak discuss. They give us some insight or indication that we are actually, not going to go through details too much, but we know from here what are the participants looking for. So you join this webinar today, and this will help us to curate the content along the way so that it meets your expectation, your goals, and the objective of the seminar. Kalau ada soalan that you don't understand on the survey, let me know. Or orang cakap apa, just jawab je. Okay. Usually the first answer is the right answer, Okay. We always have this tendency to second guess. We all second guess. Is it true? Second guess. It's good, but also it can be bad. Sometimes if I'm not wrong, there's our brain, the respond to the familiar words, okay, and then all the information gathered, all the archive akan cari and get. So that's the most relevant answer to it lah. That's usually how it works. How many participants we have today? Adam?
Total we got
39, around 30 kan. So we expect majority of them dulu, and we're going to close the survey when we receive a certain number of participants responded lah. Okay,
sure.
So we're not going to wait until 10 minutes and so on. So come on, UPM, we have 5 minutes more, 3 minutes more. Even you pakai phone, but you still can access it. This is very mobile friendly too.
Dear all participants, please fill up the survey form lah. It's just 11 questions, very quick, less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. And by the way, the answers will be anonymous. Your name will not appear there. Okay, it's just for your own record and for your own personal comparison lah. So we're going to look at each and every questions yang we posted, and we're going to discuss lah. Nine done, 6 underway. Where are the remaining? Another 20 or 15 participants. the intention of coming to webinar to listen to the webinar, but instead ada examination pula, ada quiz.
Ada soalan-soalan dia quite this one apa? Grey area. Not sure.
Sorry, what?
Ada soalan dia, jawapan dia in a grey area. So we are not sure. Betul ke salah ni? Try je lah.
Just try, because we're going to discuss and you find the answer and justification throughout this webinar. So nak tahu jawapan pada apa yang you not sure, then you have to say throughout the session lah. Okay, 2 minutes more. Lah kacang je ni untuk UPN, so kacang. Okay. You pernah mungkin come across the question, but betul ke salah? Is it true or false? Not sure lah. I just pow. Okay. Just pull the trigger and tembak. Dr. Mazri cakap so answers. Okay. Okay. So when we reach 20 participants, we're going to log the survey. Okay. So we have 18 now. And later after this, you kira markas sendirilah. Betul ke tak? Okay, 14, 4 on the way. Come on, UPM. We can do better. 4 on the way. It's like this lah. During the initial of the webinar, people are warming up. Maybe they join, but they are not there. They're going elsewhere, pick up some coffees or doing something, or perhaps attending to the kids ke apa kan. But yeah, we understand that. That's why we try to buy the time now. Okay, allowing for some people to come in during the first 30 minutes of the 15 seconds, 15 minutes of the session. Okay, meanwhile, you fill up the session. Okay, we have 2 more. Come on. So we need 1 more to complete the 20 threshold yang kita buat. Okay. So any other participants lain? Okay. Or any other universities that join? Okay. 3 more, 3 on the way. I was made to understand that it comprises of a mixture of participants, not necessarily all from UPM, but also from Warga Maya, semua ada, and other universities too.
I think some from industry pun ada.
Okay, great. So from industry, that's very great. So at the end of the day, you can get the point of view from industry, and then you also got point of view from the academicians. Why is it difficult to cross the value of that? Why is it difficult to get industry to get on board with us? What is it that they want actually? Kan? So, okay, come on, 3 more. We're gonna log soon. Yang last soalan tu inilah, something like you have to like okay, 3 more. Okay, 2 more. Okay, instead of come on UPM and come on Malaysian, you can do this. And come on residents of Malaysia, you can do this. Okay, 1 more, then we're gonna log. Okay. So, cepat lagi 2. Come on, guys, one more. Okay, we're gonna log this when we have a 20 respondents. Okay, so we're going to log the survey. Thank you so much for responding. Okay, so basically, to go one by one. The first question, how do you think a brand name or logo can be protected? Majority jawab trademark, patent, copyright, industry design. Actually, a brand name or logo can be protected under trademark, not patent, not industry design. Second question, how do you think an invention, vacuum cleaner, can be protected? Ada yang jawab patent, some of them jawab industry design, ada jawab trademark and copyright. Okay, to answer this, okay, we have to understand the questions. An invention. So when we talk about invention, it has to be patent. When you talk about housing for the vacuum cleaner, then industry design. When you talk about the name, Dyson, for example, or Philips ataupun Panasonic, is trademark. Okay. Telling people about your invention before applying a patent, okay, could lead to unsuccessful application. True. Okay. Even though you have a 12-month grace period here in Malaysia, but actually you are not encouraged to publish publish or tell people about it, because somehow you cannot control the disseminations of a person. You trust this person and this person trusts another person, and then end up the information keep flowing from one to another. You have lost control of everything, and most important is that you don't have proof that to say that this person is leaked out to the third party, 4, 6, 5, and so on. So better file patent first before you want to disclose it to any party. And you want to disclose this through link, okay, with proper NDA and so on. Well, this one 100% get it correct. Patents protect the way someone does business. Yes. True. Patent protect the way someone does business. The answer for this is false. Okay, the 100% jawab true. Okay. Patent does not protect the way of doing business, because the way of doing business falls under the non-patentable invention under the laws. Okay. Ni 100% jawab ni. Okay. Patent can last forever. Okay. So the maximum term for patent is 20 years. So that means that it does not last forever. So jawapan ni adalah false. Kita berapa dah check ni daripada 20 soalan. Registering a company name, okay, at SSM protects the trademark against copier. No, so jawapan dia adalah, in order for you to get a protection for your trademark, your logo, you need to register dekat MyPo, not SSM. So jawapan di sini adalah false. Industrial design protection can last forever. Okay, ID lasts for 25 years, not forever. So jawapan di sini adalah false. To protect a piece of work with copyright, it should be registered with MyPo. Jadi pun satu lagi. Jawapan kepada ni adalah false. Not necessarily you have to submit to the MyPo in order to have a protection for your copyright. Okay, so the one that MyPo is a voluntary notification. So you volunteer to submit your works at the MyPo. Okay. Shop and restaurant can legally play music to the customer without license. 15% jawab boleh lah, kesian lah kedai tu. So they need to survive in this pandemic, etc. Yes, we can understand the concern. We can understand the sentiments on that side. But when put yourself in the composer or in the lyricist who came up with the music, and then another party use your music without a consent and then gain some monetary return from there. So definitely false. You need to get a license, because the right to reproduce the music belongs to the right of the producer or publishing house or the lyricist. How familiar are you with IP and commercialization? IP commercialization. Very familiar, somewhat familiar, not so familiar, not at all familiar. Okay, so we basically know where to go about with this webinar today. Last but not least, have you come across any university commercialized product in the market? Department store, retail store, hardware store? Yes, many, 20%. I think so, at least not yet. No one jawab no border, nasib baik. So kalau dia buat don't bother tu, there's something wrong there. Okay, so if yes many, it's good. Okay, and sometimes we go to the store or Sunday shop or grocery, we just immediately we know what we want, but we don't really bother to flip around. Is it universities and then check and Google, etc. We sometimes when we have time we do that, but in this case, yes many, 20% answer, that is a good indication that actually you're aware that university's product is out there. Okay. Okay, so now where are we directing our attention and thought? So kita dah tahu, we have done the survey. So we have involved with intellectual property, we have involved with research, we have involved, or at least we heard about the success story of other persons doing commercialization. Okay, and in fact, UPM is one of the best universities in Malaysia doing commercialization. I actually don't have to tell you anything about the commercializations. You have a good person at PSP, etc. But as I mentioned earlier on, we're coming from a different angle. Okay, we're coming from an angle that, okay, if you're expecting this webinar going to share with you what's the step A, step B, step C of doing commercialization, okay, how to draft an agreement, how to how to approach the industry and so on, I think you are in the wrong webinar. So we are going today coming from a different angle, perhaps less taken, okay, by many other speakers out there, because this is based on the experience that we encountered, our observations, and also our research and study based on what happened on the IP landscape in Malaysia, including the commercialization. Okay, so this is the information that we obtained here is from the UPM website. Okay, some of you got consent from them to share with the public so that the awareness can be increased and for the benefit at large. Okay, so we have here a catalog. It's very interesting. UPM come up with their own catalog, UPM commercialized technology. Okay, I'm not sure this is what edition because it's not stated there, but it is on the website. So I assume this is the latest edition of it. So the content, a lot of commercialized product. The technology dah commercialized way back way back to 1990. You know, started with probability kaedah, Martellus dexometer, okay, and then there's quite a number of pages, dalam this catalog to showcase that we have done a lot of researches, a lot of research works, and then we have also commercialized them all together other than this catalog. Of course, some information is not available for public, it's confidential. So what you need to know adalah this product are commercialized, so that's it, okay. But in this case, okay, as an outsider, we as an industry, as a person not internal to the university, we always ask, okay, you commercialized this in 1990. So what's next? We hope to hear some updates, some great news about it. Is it I know what happened, or is it this technology still open for industry to commercialize or to take up the license, or what happened? Is it maybe to the impression of public out there in the industry, or some technology listed in this catalog or already commercialized, somebody have taken up the technology, so there's no more room for us to go and take up this similar. Otherwise, we have to go and contact them, etc. So, sometimes it's only one-time commercialization. There's no continuity, there's no renewal of the license agreement and so on. So with this kind of formation, it helps, to prolong the extend the commercialization activity for that particular product. Okay, and very recently, okay, we have this at UPM too, vaccine STVAC. So if you are basically not aware, okay, so this is on the UPM website. Very recently, I think 24th September, okay, the commercialization of vaccine STVAC 7, okay, for pneumonia untuk kambing dan biri-biri dengan nilai patent sebanyak 4 juta. That's quite an achievement. Okay, so bila dah ada satu achievement between UPM this bio angle, if bio angle inside here, congratulations to UPM and both of you for able to cooperate together to commercialize and take this product out to the community on the commercial scale, on the large scale. Apa yang trigger us is that, okay, so this vaccine STVAC, okay, patent, when was the patent being filed? How long it takes for this technology to be commercialized? So we have to do the postmortem. Of course, kita tahu the sweet little thing about the technology, but at the same time, we cannot be in denial. We have to check and do the postmortem. What happened to this? Okay, yeah, it's 4 million as well, but at the another end of the spectrum, okay, somebody, perhaps the PSP, their team, or maybe the public, or maybe UPM, or maybe other universities members, okay, they want to know what is the story behind this technology. So how long it takes to commercialize, how they find middle ground between UPM and BioEagle, and 4 million. So this 4 million is from where? So it should intrigue us to tahu apa yang jadi dengan 4 juta and how long. If the patent filed in 2012, now that 2021, so you left about 10 years more to explore technology. If the patent has been granted, but if the patent has not been granted, what happens if the patent got rejected in down the road by the examiner, the MIPO? Okay, so these are the things that as a practitioner, IP practitioner, we're also looking into this method to make sure that, okay, there's a safety net for our client. There's also some safety net for the BioEagle. But anyway, congratulations to UPM. So as we can be seen the screen that we share with you now, UPM, okay, is the best organization for many consecutive years, okay, and most universities in 2016. Now, if you are from other universities joining this webinar, don't feel intimidated, but you should take this as a lesson and learning experience for everyone. And then perhaps, hantar spy ke UPM and see what are they doing, what are they SOP, what are the policy to get this best organization many consecutive years. Okay, so this should trigger you, and you can learn from if it's something good to learn and then applicable to your institution, just by all means you can apply this. All right, but is that enough? Okay, the 4 million for one product out of how many products? Out of how many patents? Okay, and the catalog that I showed earlier, that one is successfully commercialized. How about the technology that still pending, still waiting untuk somebody to datang meminang and merisik? So I think UPM also listed this on the website. Of course, I have this example of UPM because this is organized by UPM, and this is the best, one of the best universities in Malaysia for handling IP and conversations. So they have this special page on the website, like this technology can be ready to be commercialized, then categorized into few classes. And then if looking for agriculture, retail, and so you can just go to the website and you see. So the problem here is that how do you think the industry or whoever out there can come and visit this website and see the website, shopping through your website? What makes you direct the traffic to here? Okay, what makes what your effort to direct traffic to here? So kalau this information is not known to the public, how come it can be commercialized? So if this information sitting there and we are sitting in the gold mine, that's something that we listed, yes, we listed. You have the marketplace, yes, you have a marketplace, but you come up with a good domain name for the website, that's fine. UPM is already known. If they want the technology, they come and visit us now. So you're waiting for them to come instead of you actively approaching them. So doing commercialization, it has to be both ways, active and passive way. Sometimes technology is something that be hunted by everyone. But in this case, if you look at this technology and before in 2015, but no one take up the technology yet, there should be something wrong. So you have to do the audit and checking. So I'm not saying this is something wrong. This is great effort by university, but it could have been done better. Okay. So what here? What is it? You listed, and if you click in one of them, our opinion is that it's too academic paper presentation. It's too academically inclined. It's too what they call this. It's too academic lah, senang cerita. So perhaps what we can do, because you want to entice the content here not sexy enough, the content here not tempting enough. If I as a person or any other person quickly go to the website, okay, we don't have time to read through all 250,000 technology that you have. So we have to click, by chance click and then go. The way they present it, okay, it's too academic, and yeah, the wordings there, etc. So that are the areas to be improved from time to time. Make it less academic so that you can hello industry join us. Okay. Okay, that are the technologies that are ready to be commercialized. Okay, now we're talking about available commercialized product. You already appointed the licensee. Okay, somebody has taken up the technology dan tengah jual. Okay, you also basically listed lah on the website. Okay, but look at this. Look at this. Pelbagai produk kualiti tinggi berasaskan inovasi R&D UPM yang telah dikomersialkan oleh syarikat pelesing UPM. Sila hubungi pihak syarikat untuk pembelian produk. So yeah, maybe some technology is very interesting and mungkin you really wanted to use that and you want to see applicable to your field. But sometimes it will be much easier. Wouldn't it be much easier if you can like purchase this directly just to get a sample, and if you want to have more sample, a bigger volume, only then kita contact lah, kita dapatkan ni. So have a sample sent out to them first and see whether or not it can applicable to them, meet their objective or to meet the requirements, etc. So to contact is like as a customer, can you imagine Shopee, okay, not Shopee, Grab Food, just do the market listing. This is the food available within your area. If you want to purchase the food, you contact them. This is their contact number. Is it another hassle for us to contact and then go and would it be advantage if you put already everything here on one stop website and semua ada kat situ. Or nak click just be and this it. So e-commerce thing. So this is what happened. Okay, and I think they are aware about all of these things to make the commercialized product accessible by the public to the community. Okay, one of the platform that have been used okay by I think this is the only universities that use Shopee platform. Okay, if you're not aware, and better you go to your apps now and follow One Putra Mart. Okay, because they have 11 products. Okay, so 11 product listed 3 months ago, and this is where all the ready product that commercialized perhaps within the campus and then the smaller capacity. But this is a technology with high impact research and development, with a proper R&D that have been done. Rather than you tak tahu benda tu teknologi tu apa, and you ambil and you beli because it's cheap. Okay, this is where the Malaysians need to put aside that mentality. Now come up with a new mentality. Macam mana you nak buat? Kalau orang jual madu, what's the difference between madu UPM and madu outside kat luar sana? If UPM jual the cream for eczema, what is the difference between cream eczema for UPM and the rest? Other than the price lah, of course. Or the branding. Oh, this one looks more reliable because it has a lot of range of products and the other. UPM only have one or two, so there's a long way to go. That kind of perception need to be handled by the PSP or team at UPM. Of course, you need to address all the customers' issue or customer perception because you have decided, okay, you have decided to go with this e-commerce platform, One Putra Mart. You also have to be ready kalau ada apa-apa yang peniruan produk berlaku on the platform. So what happened? Is ada juga sauda yang ada dalam sauda oil yang ada produk dekat sini, and ada orang jual nama sauda juga for the same thing. How you want to take action against them, etc. A lot of things. But just to share with you, ini adalah one of the initiative. Okay, banyak universities and yeah, if not us, who else akan support? Okay, it start with us. So yeah, have a hands-on on the product, purchase lah one or two, and then one or two or all of them. Okay, and then tengok and give feedback, honest feedback. And what is it? Maybe they can improve on the packaging, etc. As a product owner pun, you have to be receptive lah. You have to be open. You cannot be like, oh no, you cannot be play on hostile. You cannot be intimidated. No, you have to open. You have to be open to all of these things because you decided to join the e-commerce platform, join on board. Okay. So now, FRSB dah 25 tahun. So we fikir balik. Not just FRSB lah. All the participants in this webinar today, are we part of the success story of IP commercialization of our organization? Are we part of them, or are we just a passive member, not involved in the commercialization, or maybe not yet? But with this webinar, it interacts you and it motivates you to go with the commercialization further. So this is something that a rhetoric question that we throw to you. Tengok, the 25 years, for example, FRSB, what have been done? So how many IP have been done? The research works, the grant that you get from the government, okay, internal or external. So the technology, that what happened to them? They're just sitting there on the filing, and then that's it. Okay. Effort for commercialization must be multiple, quadruple, and so on. You're gonna double. You know, kalau the previous approach did work, okay, and doesn't mean that you have to give up. So you have to use different approach in order for you to get a different result. If you think that the approach may not entirely applicable to you, so you have to apply a hybrid approach. By all means, you have to do everything. Okay. So the question here is that what's next? Okay. You have IP. So what's next? You have commercialized one product. Okay lah. But what's next? Is it all? You're doing the research, and then the new discovery that you found, and some of them got patented, and some of them got registered industrial design, trademark, copyright, etc. So what's next? So this is the questions you need to answer. Apa yang nak buat? I've done the IP, but difficult to commercialize on J5. It's difficult. Senang lah you cakap, senang. Yeah, it's easier to say, but you know, at the end of the day, you are in the loop, you are in the cycle of innovations. So with this cycle innovations, you need to figure out, have a vision, macam mana you want to commercialize all these things. So the best way, you know, for you to predict the future, macam mana nak commercialize your product ni, is to create it. Okay, like what PSP dah buat, okay, or any other universities lain yang nak buat. So if you think the policy, IP commercialization policy is not strong enough, be the change, be the change agent that you want to see in the world. You buat, and then yeah, this is how you approach it. If there's no restriction, so much restriction by university, or even in the case that your organization also not sure lah how to go about this, you buat lah. Then later you report to us, if good, and then we take this example and buat. Itu yang apa jadi, wait and see approach, you know. But no one there enough, no one bold enough, okay, to take up this product into the market. So we understand it's not easy. Of course, it's not easy. And IP commercialization may not always fulfill you. Okay. However, you have, you know, show up and do your best anyway. So become so good that you can't be ignored. Okay. You buat apa produk sekalipun, even from non-technical faculty, technical faculty, or invention, even a simple questionnaire, you should realize that if you look at the number of commercialized set of questionnaire under the copyright, you'll be surprised how the idea of having a set of questionnaire, okay, actually can help, for example, to detect Alzheimer, to detect autism in kids. So this set of questions is very important, preliminary, before going for clinical checking, etc. So this is the thing, you know, sometimes we always underestimate ourselves. Sometimes we always feel like, okay, this is a simple invention, so not so much of this. That's what you say, okay, but not its impact to the public, its impact to the society. How to know all about this? Research. Okay, you're doing your research about your invention, you're doing research about your design, you're doing research about your technology. You also have to do research on market. You also have to do research on the customer perception. You also have to do research on so many other things. So talking about IP and commercialization, okay, so IP, you already have that, okay, patent protected, design registered, trademark registered, copyright submitted. So what else? So what's next? Commercialize it. Do you have to get the patent registered first? Only then you do the commercialization activity? Not necessarily. Okay. Kalau tak, you akan lambat dan nasi dah jadi bubur. Bubur boleh makan lagi, but maybe bubur dah something else. No, it's too late. Too little, too late. Start now. Okay. So IP and commercialization is like irama dan lagu. You cannot separate them because like electric current, okay, the electron will flow bila you plug IP and commercialization together. So that meets the entire purpose of having IP. Kenapa you file a patent in the first place? Why? Why you file a patent in the first place? Okay, you want the protection, but that's not the main intention. The main intention is that you want to get a proper exclusivity when you enter into the market. So the exclusivity here through patent filing give you your monopoly or rights in the market, okay, by way of commercialization. Itulah sebenarnya yang jadi. So the last time we've been dimomokkan dengan perkataan patent protection, IP. Yes, that was, yeah, that's how it started anyway, anywhere else pun. So it started slow and now we're picking up. So commercialization is now the buzzword. Semua orang kena buat commercialization. You come up with IP. You get grant from Mosti, you get grant from Matrade, you get grant from FRJS, PRJS, all of them are the IP. So this is how you want to protect your IP. But what's next? Commercialization. You have to commercialize. We have Malaysian commercialization year. Macam-macam year, macam-macam ada yang buat. Tapi we have to look balik. Betul ke tak the involvement dalam Malaysia commercialization? Is it still a short sendiri punya anugerah? It can be also that, you know. When we look at it, okay, it's a same old situation that happened. Not that anugerah lah, maybe a different anugerah. Okay, so this is where we feel like, okay, in order for us to shape the nation, the IP landscape in Malaysia, okay, we have to be bold enough and dare enough to take the calculated risk. You know, look at our neighboring country, Singapore. What happened to them? They're a small country with a limited land, but look at the economy. Look at where are they in the global innovative index. Way much higher than us. So Malaysia is still around 30 to 35 rank. Okay, and Thailand sedikit atas, and Philippines juga atas. Why ke dia atas? What happened to Malaysia? Oh no, there's so many parameters yang ada accessible to the business, etc. But what we can do is that one of them is the parameters of IP user and IP producer. So we produce IP, but we don't use IP. We are mainly IP user. Kita guna IP orang lain yang buat dan kita guna. Kita guna teknologi orang yang buat, but not our own technology. Kenapa? Why is that? Or is it because of the technology is just not ready? Or what is it? The commercialization barrier. So today's session talking about university IP towards commercialization. Okay, so IP from industry is the reverse way. So IP from university, you want to cross the valley, nak pergi ke market. It's like you push the product and want to like create the market to place your product in. It's difficult. Okay, you have to select kiri kanan and then put the product there. Okay, you manage to put but no one giving attention. Itu pun boleh jadi. Okay, so these are the things that you have to aware that okay, you invented this particular product. Whether is there any market value for it? Is somebody need this in the society? Okay, if I invented this catalyst, who's going to use this catalyst? Is there any industry here in Malaysia want to use that? Okay, so of course you invested a lot of resources and facility in developing the catalyst. For example, catalyst A, you buat. Catalyst A is a modified catalyst, surface modification, etc. But at the end of the day, yeah, research is research. But when you file a patent, and the question you should ask at the same time during you conducting your research is who are the takers for this? Who's going to buy this? Which industry? Semiconductor industry, oil and gas industry. You have to basically get general idea. Siapa yang nak guna you punya catalyst ni? You buat. Who's going to buy this? Okay, of course, in the name of knowledge, okay, you can always justify that. Okay, but at the end of the day, when you file a patent, you also have to think that in the name of commercialization. Macam mana nak commercializekan this catalyst? So you ada buat, okay, that's it lah, tak apalah. We fikirkan dalam next grant. Well, this is FRJS je, fundamental. Then later we go prototype. We apply lah PRJS nanti from there. Did you aware or not? From the FRJS sampai PRJS, 2 years left. And this one, 3 years left. One, at the end of the tenure of the grant, nak file a patent, people already 1,000 steps ahead of you dah. Okay, so this is the time lapse subconsciously kita practice, but there's something not right. Okay, you apply now, but you publish paper, and then down the road you want to file a patent. And surprisingly, the patents cannot go through because of your own publication. This is also something that happened very rampant, especially in the university, research institute in Malaysia. Publication versus patent. So we have been telling this so many times, and we understand that reminder has to be consistent and constant. Okay, so we need to keep reminding ourselves, and then hey, you not publish, but you dapat patent ke belum? Okay, I know UPM has very strict policy on this, that you have to file patent before you go for application. Sometimes the circumstances not always favorable or inevitable lah. Sometimes kita publish and kita tak bagi tahu pun. Later when we file a patent, then we know that alamak, there's a patent blocking us. Okay. So this is a typical journey. Winding or not, you decide. Twisted or not the journey, you think about it. Okay, from lab to market. Okay, the innovation you created, okay, and you submit the invention disclosures, and then we do some IP assessment. IP assessment termasuklah patent search, trademark search, design search, to confirm whether or not this technology actually have the patentability requirement, meet all the registry requirement under the law. Okay, and then we go for filing, or if you don't go filing first, you check the commercial assessment. Okay, you're not filed, but you have to know with the help of inventor or researcher, like to give some input, because you are in the field, you procure the items from company ABCD, so you have a better idea lah basically macam mana untuk you get the commercialization, who's going to buy this. Okay, the last time in the assessment form, the section for commercialization plan too is not so, it's voluntary lah, optional, but now it become mandatory. So you have to identify lah industry mana yang buat, and whether or not you want to start a company, a spin-off company, or find a JV, okay, to help you with the commercialization, okay, and negotiate the license and etc. This is very typical way of doing it. Of course, along the road is sometimes the detour. Sometimes, yeah, we have some clients who yang give up along the way. Some of them have a misfortune event, tiba-tiba hilang what they call this funding, etc. So the typical university, IP commercialization number one, they go for licensing. Apa yang tengok dalam katalog tadi is licensing. You did not surrender your rights, ownership over your patent, of your IP, but you give certain right for them to exploit your IP. Okay, assignment. So assignment that you jual, you punya hak involve the transfer of ownership from University A to Industry A. So now University A no longer have the ownership on that particular IP. Number three, a spin-off company. Yang ni banyak. Dia prefer university one way lah. Because dia nak cari industri susah. So might as well you come up with your own industry. So they incubate them, then spin off when it's ready, and that's it. You monitor closely how they perform, what the milestone, etc. Okay. Number four, joint venture company. So this is where you get the third party on board, form a special vehicle, SPV, special purpose vehicle macam ni, untuk commercializekan the product, collaborate on that. Yeah, senang nak cakap all these things, but actually if you go to any place, Cik Irfan, I ada satu patent, what is the best way untuk commercializekan dia? Macam mana? License ke, assignment ke, spin-off ke, JV ke, all of these things, you cannot just plug from thin air and then make decision. So it must be based on data. It must be based on apa yang ada, what's the data yang involved, market need, customer need, apa lagi, a lot, readiness of technology, and so many things. Okay, you not go for a spin-off company, it's not easy to for the university to monitor, to make sure that spin-off companies perform, to have equity or to not to have equity dalam spin-off company, so many things yang ada. Okay, sometimes we just stick with one policy of having the spin-off company because that we believe it works and the best practices. But in the actual case, it may not or may not be so feasible lah down the road. Okay, but the framework or the format of a spin-off company yang banyak. Okay, so this is simple part of the metro. In order for you to what they call this commercialize your product. For industrial design, you have 25 years. Okay, okay, trademark indefinite years, patent 20 years je. Copyright, life of the article plus 50 years after that. So you have a very limited years untuk commercialize your ID. So if you filed in 1990, so ID tu probably they could have expired, or patent have expired. So that's it. So it go wasted without any commercialization activity. So take time. Okay, now you ponder. So no innovations don't failure because you're doing R&D. Okay, must have some sort of innovation there. Kalau tak ada innovation means that you're doing R&D lah. Okay. Other innovation, just innovation, may have a commercial success, but the invention is not protected. Okay. Innovation not protected, it can be a disaster. Anyone can copy. Okay. Innovation protected may have a commercial success, but there's infringement activity going on. The technology is easily superseded. The technology is so revolutionary. Today, you buat satu technology, the next day dah obsolete. Okay. Innovation protected, not commercialized. Just waste of opportunity. Okay. So the cycle of innovation, think of like a house, and then you control the door. In the door, you have a lot, within the house, you have a lot of assets. You have patent, design, copyright, okay, trade secret, and so on. You have to bring this in the form of product, process, or servicing to the market, okay, so that it will impact the society, and most importantly, you gain the recognition. Dan juga, you get the monetary benefit. The funds come in, duit to come in, and they can fund the new upcoming R&D, can benefit the university, and the researcher also get the incentive. Okay, that's how it works. So university usually have the IP commercialization policy. So that policy to determine if you get 1 million here, or tadi kan 4 million kan, if Prof. Dr. Zamri ada, if you get 4 million over here, and then how much you get from there? Or you dah beria-ria bersungguh-sungguh commercialize technology, maintain good relationship with the industry. So what's the wealth sharing yang ada? Check with the universities, your organization, ada ke tak? If tak ada, better make one, because IP commercialization policy with a wealth, proper sharing, revenue sharing, etc. is a motivation factor. It's a driving factor, okay, for some researchers, okay, to go really serious about this, okay. So kebanyakan teknologi out there, not the participants yang dalam group ni lah, So technology push rather than market pull. Okay, so this is where yang kita tengok, you be driven by certain technology, but they have no market pull, tak ada pun. So you come up with a catalyst, but it's just a catalyst that may or may not be used within around the corner, or perhaps that catalyst is been superseded by another superior catalyst. So to give a scenario to get things clear, kan? So you invented a catalyst A for biodiesel, for example. Catalyst A to purify cooking oil for biodiesel. Okay? And then you file a patent for this in that. And without a proper study, a research or literature review in both research world and patents world and commercial world, okay, you tak jumpa this catalyst. Okay, this particular catalyst ini basically you're doing what? The same production of biodiesel, higher conversion than you, higher efficiency than you, more regeneration factor is higher than your catalyst. Both buat biodiesel. And a lot of industry take up this catalyst, but not yours. Yours is cheaper. Kita dah cuma murah ni. Okay, by load semua very cheap. And then most importantly is locally sourced product, etc. But for the industry point of view, okay, at the end of the day, we want a higher conversion, we want a higher efficiency, the newest technology, because at the end of the day, we want a quality product to be generated from the use of this catalyst. So what is your bargaining chip kat sini to commercialize? Hello, hear me. I have the catalyst over here lah. Okay, hey, university here dah buat this catalyst. But who bother? Because orang have a more superior technology over here. So that means that you have to be always alert and aware. Okay, and not short sendiri. You come with a catalyst today, tomorrow you have to look around. Whoever that come up with a catalyst more superior than you. Okay, buat lagi and check. The checking must be 360 and at most of the time. Okay, sometimes teknologi yang you buat tu has been easily superseded saja, and sometimes easily circumvented. Okay, kalau something is terlalu senang dan is terlalu senang untuk orang skip atau bypass the pattern. Okay, so new technology developed because of market need is more likely to be commercially relevant than technology that is clever but of limited practical use. Okay, so getting along, okay, is with others linked with cooperation. You have to cooperate. You cannot work in silo. All the researcher out there or inventor, you cannot work in silo lah. Okay, silo ni, kadang silo ni sangat negatif, Ipuan jangan sebut. But I have to say this. Okay, if you work within your group, you have to be open to other groups too. You have to be aware apa yang dia buat. You must have the willingness to work together with them. If you think that your design A or cannot work with the electronic part, by all means, you have a faculty of electronics, the expert in electric and electronic, to come and join on board as a group, okay? And then you can have a more solidified product into a finished product, okay? This is where what happened. Group A working on A, Group B working on B, Group C working on C. So the PSP dah pening kepala, or your RMC or TTO, how to commercialize this, this one. So can you marry them together and then make a finished product and put it into the market? At the end of the day, it's all universities' assets that you bundle in together. Okay. Researcher, you have to maintain good relationship with collaborator. So the licensee, the potential licensee, treat them well, you know. So it's a long-term relationship with the client. Dr. Fairuz, ya? Dr. Fairuz ada soalan ke? Okay, so university IP commercialization. Now we talk about barriers. Tadi, I think you know already about the enablers for IP commercialization. PSP have shown you a lot. Even you by on your own reading, by your own observation, banyak dah enablers dia. Government policy, technology transfer professional, apa lagi? All of them, the enablers for the IP ecosystem. But now, kita nak tengok from the different angle. Okay, enablers are already there, but it still doesn't work. You have a lot of enablers, banyak. Or you have the TTO professional, certified professional. You have this certified group of people doing that, but it still doesn't work. It's still not working as what you expected. Kenapa tu? Is it a human factor yang ada kat situ? So what are the barriers yang that hinders university IP to be commercialized? Okay. Winding on that depends on you. It's like a maze, you know. Sometimes you have to try going one way instead of the another one. But most of the time, you must have the helicopter view. Macam mana maze tu? What's the journey going to be like? Okay, you must have some sort of view to picture it from helicopter point of view, a bird's eye view. You nampak actually, or if you fail this one, no worry. We still have this another path we can go, etc. So whatever happen, you always have the upper hand. Okay, yang jadi masalah sekarang ni adalah we fail to picture the entire the helicopter view of our journey, IP commercialization journey. That's why we feel stuck. That's why we feel like we don't know lah macam mana nak buat. You feel buntu and stuck because of you have no idea macam mana the IP ecosystem works. So you need to understand from the clearer the upper point of view. Okay. So the commercialization barrier, is it financial support and incentive? Okay, so the grant for the government, the grant, internal grant, etc. tak cukup untuk you punya doing the prototype, doing the fundamental research prototype, and then to make it TRL 7 or 9 or 8, okay, from 1, 2, 3, 4 until 8, is it not sufficient? Is it exactly the barrier that you're talking about? Ataupun ada grant cuma I tak dapat je, tapi that's why I cakap ada financial support. Tak ada financial support. So now not the financial support is the issue. The incentive, is it you're not being incentivized enough? Tak ada ke? The IP policy and commercialization, is it the barrier for you from moving forward? Ada. So what are the wealth sharing? For the first 1 million, you get 50% for your group of inventors. Another 50% to do with universities. So check with your organization. So what are the wealth sharing? What are the sharing, revenue sharing yang you ada? If we take up this, commercialize this, etc. So what's in it for us as a researcher? So what's in it for the university? What's in it for the organizations? Okay. So number 2, industry support. Ini ramai. When we do a survey, many of them lah, mungkin not UPM or the participant in the case ni, say that they lack of industry support. So when we ask them, what type of industry support that you want? What type of support you want from the industry? What is it? So they fail to identify actually what kind of support they want. What do you need from them? So the only one thing that we understand adalah they just want industry to take up and that's it. You know, so they don't want to understand the industry point of view, but they want to be understood. Macam mana? How do you think this gonna work? If you kahwin sekalipun, your partner must be complementary and you know for a long-term relationship with each other. So it's not like you beli from the 7-Eleven and beli and pick up and you purchase and that's it. No, commercialization is something else. It's beyond that, the relationship yang you ada. So if you want the industry to support, or you want the if you're industry, if you want to support university, you have to understand each other and talk to them. Ask actually what do you need? How can we help? If something that's not within our capability, and then yeah, we might want to introduce you to some of our partners in our industry. Then join together. So this negotiation is very important. So it takes grace, okay, in a very delicate situation. You have to maintain. That's all. Cakap network. So this is the networking that you have to maintain within the industry and the universities. Of course, you have your set of industry you're targeted, but sometimes they are not. They didn't target you. You know, they look up on you, but now they look up for something else. So you need to know what are the focus area now. Are they looking for what? Or maybe since you have the internship student, so internship student program, and ask them to identify how university technology can help them in, for example, production of palm oil, for example, in a food manufacturing, okay, preservations, etc. So get a feedback from your latest spy in the internship program and see how it works. And then by listening, okay, you basically get the insight on the market need of it. Okay, so now you tahu industry need this kind of support. Okay, they don't have this intelligent monitoring. So now we come up with intelligent monitoring. So we offer them first to see how it works. Kalau dia boleh gunakan, maybe in the industry also can be applied. So the last time you can take your own sweet time, but now no longer. You dah nampak, you have to go there running, no longer walking. Okay, so number 3, interest in IP commercialization. Ini pun antara benda yang banyak, you know, when we check, we do survey and research very quickly, and also many research works have been done on this area. So some academicians, they are just not interested in IP commercialization. Okay, they focus on academic, research, patent, and that's it. For commercialization, no, we are not interested. Maybe some other group might want to take up our technology, and we're willing to help you. Okay, we're willing to help you disclose everything about invention, but to commit ourselves in the IP commercialization journey, maybe not yet. So this is something, the culture that DPSP need to aware, or TTO or MC need to aware. First, what is the lack in IP commercialization? What is it wrong that, what is it thing that we haven't done yet? Okay, is it a policy? Or maybe they're not interested because of what? Okay, so you need to understand, okay, at the end of the day, when you do want to do commercialization, so you need the inventor because the brain are here. The TO and RMC are here. So kalau you jumpa industry, you want to take up their technology, but the expert here not willing to cooperate, it didn't take off too. So, enough tu lah cakap tadi, mula-mula cooperation. So, kena cooperate. As an inventor, as a researcher, or as an employee of your employer, so it's your fiduciary duty, it's a duty, you know, to work hand in hand with your employer to make sure that the technology is being commercialized, okay, to the fullest extent that you can give, but not, okay, not working backward or not working the other ways or reverse directions to the directions of the your employer. Is it commitment and time? Yes. Now we check. Okay, balik. Okay, we have academy. We have to 48 credit hours to be finished in Cik Irfan. And we have a lot of final year students. I'm supervising this and this and this. Dear, you are not working alone. You are not working within you. That's why we encourage you to work in a group. Okay, you have your research RA, you have research assistant, you have research graduate. When you apply for grant kan, you ada budget for that. 1,500, 1,500 gaji diorang. So you're working in a group. So assign them certain works. Okay, this is no longer a typical RA or typical RG. If a student is in this group, okay, you have to buckle up. There's no longer doing a typical RA, doing master. Okay, no. You have to look into the commercialization point of view too. So you now come up with master thesis. Of course, it's technical in nature, but wouldn't it be advantage if you can put in the commercialization plan of your technology, okay? And you incorporate, okay, the marketing part of it dalam you punya technology. It's all going to be, it's only going to bring advantages to you, not disadvantages. So with that hurdles yang ada, you're going to have a lot of more creativity, a lot of more criticality work coming in. Time, everybody have 24 hours. Okay. Okay, you have to manage. Of course, it's easier to say than done, but actually, if you have to manage, and then we have a group team member delegate the works, and inshallah you can manage. If yang tadi commercialize product tu boleh terjadi, why not us? Okay. So number 5, experience and skills, entrepreneurial. Is it really makes this entire journey or route for commercialization winding twisted? We have lack of experience lah dalam kes ni Pan. So skills not berapa lah. Kalau kita nak buat pun not so lah. Lagipun we are not into keusahawanan sangat. So technopreneurship is not so much our this. We just we invent. We inventor. We are not entrepreneur. That's a common answer I can dapat. We are inventor. We invent things. Okay, so you are just a typical inventor lah. So not an entrepreneur. So the new inventor, the new definition for inventor include entrepreneur definition in it. So maksudnya if you just invent and you just an invent. Kalau the last time Thomas Edison or Albert Einstein, okay, it works lah at that time. But this new era, you know, you must have the added value in it. So you can no longer become just another inventor. Okay, you must equip yourself with entrepreneurial. Kalau you rasa you cannot go for the commercialization because of lack of entrepreneurship, by all means, there's a lot of training there. In fact, PSP has a lot of program, educational, that can help you with that. Join and have a passion in it. And I think it can bring you to further than what you can think of when you push yourself. Number 6, is it because of declining public trust in university research? You put on the Shopee kan? Kenapa tak ada orang beli lagi? Why? Okay, other than orang tak tahu. Or maybe their product tu because associated with university and then declining public trust in university research. I tak cakap ni je, I tak cakap ni betul, I tak cakap ni tak. This is for our discussion. Is it true? And is it for us to validate this statement? Declining public trust in this university. Kenapa dia orang tak berminat? Why they not have any trust in our research? We implemented 1.4 million for a resource and facility for this. Why is it? And then instead of blaming others, look at what have we done. Okay, the facilities and resources. Okay, we purchased this one 1.4 million. We purchased this one 800,000 K. We purchased this technology, resources and material. Itu semua 1.2 million dah. So 0.2 million lagi, what? Your effort that you put in there. Okay, your time, your equipment fee itu selalu mahal. Okay, so this is where this initiative for facility sharing within the government agency, government university. I understand it's not easy because you dah own that technology and sometimes ada third party datang and then nak guna you punya spectrophotometer. Would you allow that? Kalau rosak berjadi, so many things have to take. I think it's under the pipelines lah for this. So in this case, so what are the research output? You have to tengok balik. Okay, 1.4 million, the grant you dapat. What are the research output? Does it contain the expected intellectual level of invention? Okay, expected degree of innovation, or is it just another technology? Yang ni yang kena jawab. Okay, so sometimes because of like in the budget, we've seen a lot of budget given to university, to the R&D, etc. But we couldn't see the output within the time period yang ada. Sometimes it's just like the fade into the thin air. We don't know what happened. And then nobody cares about it, and then it's now. Remember, it's a taxpayer money and it's amanah. So what you use the money for, so you are encountered for it, you know. So if there is in fact ada the kind of trust, public trust, you have to do something. So then you must be something. So kalau you boleh buat vaksin earlier on for pneumonia and kambing biri, why not COVID-19 vaccine? Why not polio vaccine? Why not other vaccines? How long it takes for that? We already have a basic facility knowledge about the vaccine. But why not? Why? Okay. Apa the barrier there for you to do research lah? That barrier in research, not barrier in commercialization. Okay. Number 7, technology obsolescence. Ni yang cakap pasal catalyst A, catalyst B tadi. You invented catalyst A, you shot kat sini, but actually orang dah at the same time invented catalyst yang more superior than this, you know. So now macam mana kita nak marketkan ni? Macam mana nak marketkan? And on top of that, banyakkan industri are traditionalists. It's not a bad thing because they want to maintain the product quality, they want to maintain the product consistency. So if they change the catalyst to a new one, which from you, and they cannot be assured about the quality, and then they're worried about their clients, the order yang masuk apa semua, you know, the effect of use a different catalyst, they will affect the business. So this is how the assurance you kena bagi kepada industri. So the industry need to be assured that, oh okay, the use of this won't affect their production, but in fact it will increase, okay, improve your final product. That kind of assurance that you need to give. Okay, then we feel relaxed, and then we take out the probably, then run a pilot and etc. Okay, or infinity reason. Okay, maybe it's only us. Maybe it's only us. Okay, you don't have a skill, you don't have experience, you don't have enough exposure. There's so many programs. Go. You don't have incentive, you don't have financial support. So many grants, go apply. Or you terlepas deadline, then I'm sorry. So macam mana nak buat? You have to commit for it. You know the deadline is like 2 days time, even during a pandemic, you have to submit, and you have to make use all the resources around that you ada. But our lab dekat ni, we cannot access extra. And then you have to, since you are there, they are responsible for the submission. I have to check with the secretariat, the extension ke tak. If not, and then make an effort to apply for extension. So whether or not you can submit letter due to the pandemic, kena accessible, etc. So at the end of the day, kita yang buat that things. Not, and we have a control of that. Not, okay, the other way around. So carpe diem, seize the moment. You get the FRGS, PRGS grant to help you with the commercialization. Okay, you have to seize everything. Okay, you propose 30,000K and you get 30,000K. But you look balik dekat dia punya Gantt chart yang you propose tu, is it really fast enough or quick enough, you know, for you to come up with the research output? Or is it like the research output tu sebenarnya too fundamental, but that's the basic thing. But we're going to focus on the PRGS pula, apply the subsequent grants. Do you think that kind of approach still applicable? The fact that you want a different result. Ingat. So kalau you apply for FRGS again, and then you just do the same thing, you cannot expect a different result, different output. So the criticality must be there. You conduct a research, you must be creative about it. You must be critical. So because now the criticality, the creativity akan affect your final product. The final product akan affect your commercialization route into the market. Okay, with this criticality on the market side, criticality on the properties of the product, criticality on the product on the product packaging, creativity on the marketing plan, creativity on the commercialization plan, you are already on the upper hand. You dah boleh dah sebenarnya nak buat, just tunggu masa. And at the same time pun, you have to remember to introduce the product at the right time. So yeah, the right time tu need to study. Bila the right time? Or there's no right time, that's what. So that means that's the right time. Okay. To be conscious that your ignorance is a great step to knowledge. Now we tahu basically the barriers, the enablers dan ekosistem yang dicanangkan yang bagi itu semua. Now we have to be cakna IP. We have to cakna about commercialization. We have to make this as a culture, as a budaya, do your research. There's no longer a straightforward traditional research, conventional research. But now it's a modified or hybrid research. When you do research, you have to think of commercialization. This way, it can help you expedite your commercialization process. Kalau you masih lagi guna cara sama, and you're going to have a very tough time crossing the value of depth daripada lab you into the market. Very tough process. Okay. So IP. Okay, IP generally comprises of so many components dalam patent, trademark, design, copyright, geographic indication, layout design, FIC, patent protection, trade secret, and so on. Okay, I don't have time to explain all of this dalam detail, and we agreed that we're not going to touch this very detail. Kita akan ada separate session lah after this, but we prepared some slides, okay, so that you will understand where we're coming from. So IP ni, most of them, not all of them, are territorial in nature. If you find only in Malaysia, the protection only in Malaysia. Kalau you berminat in Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, okay, we have to extend the protection in that particular country. Okay, don't expect you find Malaysia, you're also protected in elsewhere. Okay, you also can go to China, Japan, Korea, US, all of them. Mana-mana yang dapat. Okay, you ada commercial market kat sana, you ada kilang kat sana, you need the manufacturing facility over there. Apa lagi? Is potentially you punya licensees over there, have a market over there, just pergi. Okay, so a single product can be protected by various forms of copyright, because copyright give you different. Patent protect the functional aspect of it. Okay, trademark the name tag yang you bagi kat dia. So industrial design, the aesthetic part, the exterior part yang dapat. So example, Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, sekarang dah keluar iPhone 13 kan. So mana yang pre-order tu, so you can cancel, you not cancel. Okay. So dalam satu phone, there's so many patents in there. In copyright, maybe ada trade secret, industrial design, trademark, and so on. So all of these things yang ada dalam ni, so you have to know, in order for you to introduce a product, for example like a phone macam ni, what type of protection, IP protection that you must go with. And then with this IP protection, what rights have been granted to you to commercialize the technology? What rights have been granted to you to grant license to a licensee? Apa yang you dapat kat you? So understanding of the IP, okay, is very important untuk you charter your cost or your journey for the commercialization. Takkanlah you nak protect the functional aspect of the phone under copyright, functional aspect of the phone through trademark. No, it doesn't. It doesn't tak possible pun, for you to protect that things, because patent is for inventions. Trademark is like for branding, brand name tag lah senang cerita. Industrial design for the aesthetic part. Okay, so the exterior part, the judge and appeal by the eye. You nampak phone sekarang bentuk macam tu, boleh dilihat di bawah industrial design. Okay, trade secret is okay, copyright and so on. Okay, example, pharmaceutical composition comprising piper bezel for the treatment and remedy for bronchial respiratory difficulties. Ini serang cerita Down syndrome lah. Nama gempak kan, but actually it's a Down syndrome in Malaysia untuk for you have this untuk help with the breathing difficulty. An example, 3D printer dah banyak kat luar sana, but
what type of 3D printer, which part of the you improve. Okay, this one with the automatic labeling platform, Pico Hydro Turbine, okay, for electricity in rural areas. Yang ni pun banyak. Many universities dah buat benda ni. But you have to, bila you buat the research, you also have to think, macam mana nak jual benda ni? And you're going to put this product in rural area. So what are the fees, what are the fee range that they can afford to have this? And you want to put this on masyarakat orang asli, and then whether or not they can afford this. Okay, or tak, and tak kita buat the charity. You just put it there and then to help them to get the electricity. Is it right? Because you need also to think about what return of investment. You get a grant, 1.5 million, to develop Pico Hydro Turbine, and then you put dekat masyarakat asli. So what the ROI? So ROI dia apa? Apa you dapat from there? Okay, just a charity. Okay, before it's good to think about the charity, but first think about macam mana you want to get the ROI balik to commercialize this. So macam mana nak buat? Is it that approach still applicable? You can by all means go for the charity, provided that get this ROI dulu lah. So ROI, okay, at the same time, okay, kita buat charity and etc. So you have to think of you invested, okay, 700,000K, 700K, okay, dalam satu investment, dalam satu patent, but apa yang in return, apa yang dapat? Of course, you beli the facility, peluang pekerjaan dan sebagainya kan. But we're looking at the use of the asset, the use of the patent, the use of the design, the use of the copyright yang you filekan for your research output. Kat mana this white elephant now? You know, is it white elephant going to the jungle and then serve the purpose? Or you just sit there? Okay. COVID-19 rapid antigen test kit. Okay, yang ni basically can also be patented under patent law lah, of course. But for your information, there's so many coronavirus antigen test system method kits already in a patent database. Okay, so this is just an extension of another strain for COVID-19. Remember the MERS-CoV, SARS-CoV, of course, they're two lain. But when you file a patent application, it's going to be broad enough to actually cover to this extent. Okay, so what's trade secret? Trade secret, this is the information must be commercially available because it is secret. Okay, be known to only limited group of persons and be subject to reasonable step. The classic example adalah yang saya cakap ni, Listerine, Google, W40, Coca-Cola. But what actually the secret? KFC trade secret, McDonald's trade secret. So Google trade secret, the search algorithm dia. Listerine, WD40, the formulation. Kita mungkin tahu the general content of a minyak cakapa. But is it the real trade secret there? So if you put in all the based on the weight or volume percentage, you akan dapat ke tak minyak cakapa tu? What are the processes involved? So we're looking at that kind of information that's not available in the public. Okay. So copyright ni apa pula? Copyright is the expression of creative ownership, literary and artistic work. Okay. There's no invention covered dalam copyright ni. So the eligible works ada 6. Okay. Literary work, kerja-kerja penulisan, musical works, artistic work, film, sound recording, broadcast. Okay. So the rights of copyright owner, if you own a copyright owner, in this case, your employer, if you're under employment, okay, or the person who commissioned the work, if you're under commission, okay. So the rights of copyright owner to reproduce, publish, perform and communicate and adapt his work. So you know lah, basically macam mana you nak commercializekan your copyright. You have a set of questionnaire. Oh, okay. Kalau orang nak copy my questionnaire, they need to get my consent because of what? This reproduction of your work. And then want to adapt into a different medium, online questionnaire. That's your right. You nak buat, yeah, you must get my consent first. So that's how you do commercialization lah. So sometimes it's a friend to a friend, okay, and you forgot that actually the right person to do the transaction on behalf of this IP adalah, or on behalf of UPM adalah the university, the rightful owner. So the fact that you bagi, you are actually going beyond the authorization that given to you. Okay, so industrial design, the ornamental and aesthetic part of it. Okay, for example, okay, mouse, helmet, okay, face mask. Yang ni pun banyak actually face mask ni. Very recently because of COVID-19 kan. LPG housing, the praying apparel for the Siti Khadijah ni example dia. Tupperware, okay. And this one cooker, I'm sure kalau ada FRSB atau orang kat sini, then you will realize that this is one of the registered industry design, okay, for FRSB. Tapi kat mana teknologi sekarang? Okay, so right of industrial owner, you have the right to import, okay, to make, expose for sale, and so on. Ini bagi you some hints macam mana you can commercialize. Ini example, Line Corporation in Japan, that they file a merchandise in class 21. Ada lagi kalau pakai Line kan, kita pakai WhatsApp kan, what they call this Telegram and so on. Yeah, probably they want to keep maintain their presence here in Malaysia. Okay, it's cute anyway. Patung ni very cute. So trademark, I mentioned earlier, it's a name tag. So nama I Irfan, so that is my trademark, my name. So if you give your product a name, and that name is become a trademark. Okay, so Malaysia dah revamp the trademark. Okay, any sign capable of being represented graphically, bau, bunyi, hologram, everything, color can be protected under the new trademark law. Okay, Chatai, yeah, UPM is a registered trademark. Panaflex, Standard Malaysia Certification Mark, sama macam Jahala Jakin, daging harimau menangis. Okay, so daging harimau menangis ni registered trademark ke? Kalau ada masa, I akan explain dari mana. Kalau tak ada, saya akan explain. Okay, so example, we have this keyboard over here, and this particular keyboard ada satu toggle button guys, kecil. So if you look at the keyboard now, and you jumpa ada satu merah, it is a positioning mark untuk menunjukkan that particular keyboard belongs to Lenovo, belongs to that particular owner yang buat. Dia may not serve any purpose because dia adalah positioning mark. Dia tak ada apa-apa function. Maybe now dah ada function toggle ataupun dia nak screen, etc. Color mark. So this is color mark. You immediately know this is 7-Eleven lah. Tak perlu cakap, kita tahu. Kita tengok color, kita tahu 7-Eleven. Okay. Right of registered proprietor of trademark to use, to authorize other person to use the trademark. Okay. Patent. So patent, exclusive right granted for invention. Like vaccine tadi, yang UPM 4 million tu, it's a patented technology. Okay. Providing patent owner the right how to decide whether the invention can be used by others. In return, in order for you to get a protection, of course, you need to meet all the requirements, substantial requirement under the law. So that means that number one, you have to make sure that all technical information about the invention disclosed in the patent document, but not elsewhere. You cannot expect you disclose in your paper publication and then that get it protected under patents law. No. Okay. Kalau you nak protection under patents law, in a patent document. Example. Ini waste to wealth kan, WTW. Dulu is very famous. I'm not sure it's still famous or not, or maybe just slowing down or whatever reason. So it's a few biofuel biodiesel made from used cooking oil. Okay, nak pakai cooking oil pun boleh, tapi bazir lah biodiesel used cooking oil. There's also a company that go and collect all this used cooking oil from residences, from restaurants, etc. Okay, so they put a cooking oil, and I want to show the example of that lah. Yeah? So you treat that with the methoxide catalyst, and then wash away the residue, and then now can be used as biodiesel in the vehicle. The big question is that is this all? Is this all your 1.4 million hard work research output? Is this all? Okay, so we need to inject the intellectual level in it, the certain degree of innovation, the certain degree, there must be a technical advancement. Dia tak boleh jadi straightforward macam ni. Kalau jadi straightforward macam ni, dia macam pertandingan reka cipta sekolah menengah, sekolah rendah. Ingat. So the research output must have the technical advancement there. So must have some sort like what they call a certain degree of novelty. Is this the technology that we want to represent our organization, to represent UPM, UNT, UKM, UM, USM, UTM? UNIMAS, UMS. Is it this? Or actually kena ada some sort of intellectual level. That's what me the safety. How about the safety of this? Okay, what are the efficiency of this? Or R&D involved? So R&D involved here, that's very great. But you have to do it faster. You have to do it quicker. No longer take on the sweet time. I understand FRJ is like 2 years or 2 years, 2 years time or 5 years time, and depending on nature of the complexity of the field. But would it be advantage kalau you can expedite things? Okay. Remember dalam patent law is first to file basis. Kalau you punya grant 5 tahun, okay, tahun 2000 and tahun 2005 baru complete, tahun 2001 tu orang dah file patent dah pun. So once are you going for the next 4 years? Orang dah file patent, so you nak file patent cannot dah for the same invention lah. So remember patent kena qualify all of these 3 requirements. Novel, inventive step, industrial application. What is novelty? It must be new. Inventive step, it must be not obvious to the person's skill in the art. Kalau biodiesel tadi, the technology yang we show to you tu, is very obvious. Oh, yeah, just your method catalyst, so many. Oh, we have to modify the catalyst, make it function, surface modification, blah blah blah, macam-macam. So that's obvious. Okay. So remember tadi I cakap pasal crossing the valley of death kan, this part. You nak bawa all this patent, ID, trademark, copyright, your assets, actually your technology into the market. You now from this house not go to this direction into the market. You're now going into this direction. So apa yang menyebabkan difficult actually? Okay, how? Because you're pushing your product into the market. Hey, market, make space for some university technology. Make space. So we want to come in. Who are you? So this is our marketplace. So this is how our bread and butter. So this is how we do it. If you want to get your product commercialized, and then you have to do the same thing that like we did. So number one, check the market needs dulu. So check the market demand. Check where's the needs for this technology. Okay, you check. When you do research and embark into journey, you assign your RA, you assign your RG. You as a supervisor must also include. I think you need to study. So you want to come up with this catalyst, can you find out which country yang produce this? Where is the market for this technology? Kat mana? So we don't want to waste our time, we invent something that tak masuk dalam market. So now we change thing. We change the thing. We start from here. Start from the market. Apa yang ada kat sana yang you think that you can fill the void, or maybe you can anticipate in future whatever things in the market. So start from here instead of here. Right now, kita mula dekat sini. Baru kita ke sini. Okay, now start from here and then go back to your lab, and hantar balik ke dalam market. So that's what I meant by sending a little spy, okay, dalam market area, ataupun during your internship program. Every year, how many graduates do you have? Okay, so get the feedback from them, the secret feedback from them. Because they are your little spy, they know it ins and out. And you go for internship, and actually they feedback to the supervisor, and then supervisor take up, I think, for the next internship, we maintain the good relationship with this industry, and we help them with our solution. So this is how the symbiotic environment that we want to create. Okay, so TRL ni everyone dah tahu. I don't want to explain about it. 1 to 9 ke 1 to 7 punya classes ke, everyone know it. And then many of us, maybe many of us out there lah, not here, okay, make decision based on this TRL alone. Do you think that's enough? Or maybe what you need is on the regulatory readiness level dia macam mana? Market readiness level dia macam mana? Because now we're talking about commercialization. So we are not talking just a typical IP. So market readiness level macam mana? What is it? Is it profitable? No. What is the manufacturing facilities, etc. Banyak benda yang kena buat. So that's why I cakap tadi earlier on, start from the market point of view. Of course, you're the expert subject matter. You always can invent anything daripada apa yang you tahu into the problem, and this is the solution that you want to offer. Okay, rather than creating a solution, then you want to put the solution to the market. Okay, works the other way around. Cari what's in the market. What's the problem? What's the problem? What's the need for this semiconductor? What is it? What is the need for having this decoponic or hydroponic system for the apartment? What is it? So is it other than needs? Is it validated? Is it strong enough? you need to basically find the niche market. Okay. You also need to know where is innovation happening. Yang inilah kita nak buat shot sendiri tadi tu. Innovation happening where? Kat mana sekarang ni? So kita buat catalyst A and then the innovation is happening here. And macam mana when to bring this into this and force them to use your catalyst instead. Okay, so I hope this metaphor, okay, can click and trigger our mindset yang kita ada sekarang. We need to check first lah. I invented this tapi there's no market need. Tapi tak apalah untuk KPI. Apalah untuk publication. Yeah, you have another bullet for those. KPI publication, you have another bullet. But for the commercialization, it's going to be very meritorious or advantageous lah. Kalau you look from this angle, we show you the door, but you have to go through the door. So example, kat mana you nak tahu innovation is happening? So this is a green and low carbon, okay, renewable energy, for renewable energy, and then you want to venture. So you ask maybe yourself or research graduate ke you punya team members lah, okay, look for some information because we're going to venture into green and low carbon, renewable energy. We got 4 million grant from the government, so we need to start somewhere. So you need some sort of data information. So look at this. Okay, high density is over here, low density over here. Many yang dah check on the virtual power plant. Okay, and then many also venture methanol, natural gas. Ada solar cell panel. And then look again. Oh, the highest activity for licensing is the one in blue color icon. Oh, it's over here. Okay, I think the market needs this. Interpret the data properly. And the valuation. Oh, the high valuable technology, the one in green color, yang ada point out ni. Okay, oh, it's there. Wouldn't be advantageous for you to have this information and know, how to, which direction you want to take. Now you tahu, okay, maybe you have to focus on no longer solar cell panel lah. Ramai orang buat solar cell panel. None of them commercialized pun. So I think we have to venture into new things based on the market needs yang ada. Maybe what we can do is there, based on the expertise yang kita ada, maybe we can go for a production of methanol from a methane, okay, etc. Because of this. And click into this grid, get more information about this. Kat mana, siapa the key players, who are the giants in this? Are they possible for licensing? Or is it saturated? Kalau dah saturated, then you cannot become a champion over there and then it's just another pattern yang akan ada. So, how do you want to commercialize your technology? Maybe not here in Malaysia, maybe out there in US, Thailand, Singapore. Okay. All in all, you want to say that you need to understand where is your sum. It's not down ke sum. Okay, sum, sam and thumb perlu di-identify. If you want to go for the commercialization of your project before you embark into your research journey. Kena tahulah kat mana service obtainable market. Kat mana, you punya niche area kat mana. Of course, the market in Malaysia, zoom lagi, and zoom lagi in one industry, and zoom lagi. Okay, buka yellow pages and see how many industry in there. Okay. It's also important to have this entrepreneur mindset. So kalau you have this technology, you want to do commercialization, okay, entrepreneur mindset, use the what if analysis. What if we did this? Okay, be critical about it. What if a competitor did that? What if a competitor come up with a more superior catalyst than us, but we haven't filed a patent yet? Macam mana you want to secure the market? So mindset, spirit and passion of the entrepreneurship is very important. Kalau this is that the factor that can drive you. Okay, so usahawan is not just for take it for the benefit of you. You get the experience, exposure. It's a learning curve for everyone for the commercialization, So just a quick one before we end the session. Okay, contributor to failure cited by failed startup. So in respect of marketing, 42% cakap there's no market need. Okay, this is happened when they created the startup and they want to push the product into the market. So it failed because There's no market need. And 90% say that they get out-competed. Yang kena aware lah. No, apa yang jadi? You put you punya cream, hand cream over there. Is it all? Letak gas tu, and then you need a response. You need a good feedback for the product, not just from the customer, but from all the entire environment for that product. What is it? What improvement you want? And your competitors too. Okay, keep your friend close, your enemy closer. Okay, so management. 25% say that not the right thing. Yalah, sometimes you have no choice. You have to work with these 5 people. Sometimes they not the right team member you have. You got a sleeping partner in the team. That is typical. So, but what you can do as the role of principal leader, okay, you must have your head on the cloud, feet on the ground to make sure that you manage all the team members, make them contribute equally with respect to their own expertise. Okay. In respect of financial, 29% cakap they run out of cash. Okay. Innovation, 30% say they lost focus. Tak ada focus. Innovation tak boleh nak buat and then stop. Okay. And even they try to pivot, use this technology for something else, they're so gone back. Okay. So for UPM or for your organization yang lain, so this is one example that I think it's time for you to create your signature. Okay, not in terms of logo, not in terms of name, but in terms of the pictorial or the impact to the customer. Okay, the last time UPM, for example, known for pertanian. Mesti pertanian, UPM lah, pertanian. Yeah. But now, UC Putra Malaysia, what you want the UC to be known for, for your technology. So for example, if client thinking about drone, or they immediately can point out UPM. Or if they think about solar panel or maybe USM, they have a champion and this, they have this and this. Make yourself established and recognized, okay, in order for you to secure the market. Okay, this is how the passive commercialization takes place. So with your recognition and reputation, the industry come to you and say, okay, Prof, we have this problem that we have a market. We have ready client, but we don't have the expertise and facility in what. But we understand you have the facility in your university. Okay, to prepare your commercial plan. Okay, so it's good to have this DMC. This will have all the 9 components. Identify siapa customer you. What are the key activities yang nak buat? Siapa yang key partners, etc. So from here, basically, you have a better idea lah macam mana nak go forward. At least that's the basic information yang you can ada. And most importantly, the pitch deck. So if you remember the first slide I mentioned pasal technology ready to be commercialized, that is a form of pitch deck yang you ada dalam you punya katalog. But as I mentioned earlier on, they are all academically inclined. So the technical term apa semua is not suitable for the layman not understand. And it's not sexy, it's not tempting enough. You have to make it sexier. Okay, you have to make it tempting enough untuk orang tengok, this is something that I think our company matching to this. We are looking for this solution or this one. I think we need to contact them and sit down and see what they can offer. If we can, circumvent dia punya pattern, and then kita buat. Itu the industry pun habis selalunya. Okay, they want to just, it's not a bad thing. Okay, usually we shop ideas. Okay, you participate in exhibition, ITEX, MTE, etc. So most of us go around and shop ideas. It's good. Make your mind trigger and working and functioning. But at the same time, we don't want to. We want to respect others' IP too. So in this case, you tengok if you're serious, you take up, help the industry, not helping orang lain. If not us, apa lagi? So in your pitch deck, you must have all the information at least. So especially go to market strategy. Macam mana you nak go to the market with your product, with your catalyst, and how? What do you expect? You want to produce a catalyst at your own and sell, or you want to have a factory and buat, join the industry, okay, and so on. And I think right now, government offer this D2D, double tax deductions. It's very, very tempting lah. Okay, for the industry out there to invest in universities R&D, recognized university, then they can get 100% tax exemption. Okay, so do you think that is it a really winding journey or we still feeling stuck that actually no lah, we have done this lah, it's not easy, so I am giving up. Hold on, hold your thought. So revisit, okay, whatever you have done, get a proper IP counsel, get a proper counsel to get in your team. If PSP cannot help you, and go find other teams and go back to PSP and tell them that, hey, this is the new approach that I think is applicable to our invention. And I think PSP is more than happy to adopt the practices into their SOP and also applicable and benefit the others. Okay, remember, if you are in this particular moment, take time to declutter. What actually is it? Is it your mindset? Or what is it? What's the problem that you cannot go to commercialization? There are always solutions for it. And you make decision when you have better clarity for that. Finally, you trust the process. Okay, insyaAllah, if you di mana ada jalan, di situ ada kemahuan, di situ ada jalan. And at the same time pun, you have to know that there's a supreme destiny for us. Finally, remember, apa yang you buat for your research or your commercialization work, you always must be critical about it. Okay, macam mana? So 5W and 1H. So where, what, when, how. Everything must be there, even for simple thing. Okay, that's how the research work. You know, think like a researcher and also think like a entrepreneur. Macam mana you want to be critical about commercialization. Be creative about it. Okay, be practical and be realistic. Okay, sometimes our commercialization plan is too good to be true and it's like too ambitious. Okay, so we have to be realistic on it and check, validate apa yang kita buat ni, and most of the time, insyaAllah, that's fine. So I come to the end of my session. So I hope that with this simple sharing, we not inundate you a lot of information, but you know, get yourself step back for a while because it is the biggest step forward. Okay, you have to look at apa yang you want. If you don't have, if you're facing all the barriers I mentioned, get help. Ask for help. If you don't have, come to me and then I will help. Okay, so that's all from me now. And then I pass over to Dr. Adam for moderating the rest of the section.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Irfan, for your valuable sharing. I hope all of you enjoyed this amazing presentation. So personally, for me, this is an eye-opener, especially on commercialization of our research output, which is very become an important, creating impact on R&D result in UPM research, right? So I truly agree that you say that we as a researcher tend to sit in our academic silo, or that we tend to bound ourselves with the research method, what our supervisors say, and so on. I believe that we fail to see to the extent how we can expand our idea, our knowledge, our research output to the industrial application or to the market. Alright, so I open this opportunity to all the participants here to ask a question directly to Mr. Irfan. So, any one of you like to ask Mr. Irfan any question?
Dr. Adam, we have a question at the chat box.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, okay, Mr. Irfan, okay, we have a question in a chat box. This is Mr. Prof. Khairul. Okay, it says the invention should be protected first. Policy in University for Industrial Design, Intellectual Property. The designer have to confirm interested buyers first in order to get approval from the registration stage to my IPO by IP committee. So the question is, what is your comment on this, Stefan?
It's a very interesting question, Prof. Khairul. So that's the thing yang also the dilemma yang ada in this kind of condition now. You have an invention, but when you go for the internal committee, but not all universities have this policy. No? They have another filter, the blockage. You have to get this clear first. You may make sure that you must get an interested buyer. Only then we give you a green light for the patent protection. Or in this case, interested buyer first, and they meant that you at least get the LOI from them. So letter intention, they are willing to take up this project further, or they want to collaborate this further. So this is another checkpoint. Okay, the last time tak pernah ada, but due to the commercialization needs of it. So also in view of the limited fiscal or the fiscal concern yang ada within the university budget, etc., try to manage
and maintain a big portfolio for IP. So they introduce this checkpoint. Okay, so whether or not you have a buyer interested, if tak ada, and then we have to deprioritizekan you on number 5. So we have a number of 6 that have a buyer, have a evidence that industry going to take up, and then that's how they become number 4. So deprioritizing or prioritizing things are happening. Okay, so doesn't mean that it should be disregarded at all. Okay, sometimes when we found out, we sit as a panel judges for the committee to evaluate whether or not we should proceed with this patent protection. So this is where when the inventor or researcher, they come up with their product pitch to the internal committee, we sit there in here, and then sometimes we think that, okay, so for this kind of invention or nature of invention, you cannot immediately find immediate buyer at the moment right now, or you cannot immediately locate any industry for this technology. Sometimes, we need to use the hindsight. We need to use our experience that we believe, based on the data that we have, the technology will go and boom in 3 years' time. So in 3 years' time, we have to do preparation now. So as for some of the researchers out there who having difficulty to convince the internal community that, hey, we have the market will open in 3 years' time. But if you were to file a patent in 3 years' time, we are too little too late already. So you need to convince them actually that the market, the opening in the market will happen soon with data. So provide them data, that reliable data from Jabatan Statistik of Frost and Sullivan, that or any other third-party data saying that, okay, they will be opening soon. And then we are working on that. Okay, some industry, they just don't feel comfortable to issue LOI, and then and something that is also, if something that did not take off, they also gotten reflect bad name on them. So usually, for the IP committee too, you have to use the kebijaksanaan. Okay, the criteria, the rubrics is there, but also, you have to be open. Sometimes the new technology, can you imagine, the new technology, tak pernah ada lagi teknologi ni, but they prompt you to find the market for that. So what happened for the brainchild technology or groundbreaking technology that has no precedence dalam industry? Tak ada. So macam mana nak prove the market? So there's another way of proving that lah. By way of data, by way of convincing them, at the end of the day, the assurance that you give to them, we will help you to make to another level. And also at the same time, the way that we present information to them. We have to be convinced. Even you able to produce the LOI from industry, but the LOI looks so vague, looks so fragile, looks so not promising. So you still cannot go to the next level one. So that means that the proof for commercialization is can be objectively met or subjectively met. So my take on this is that it's good to have it there, but it shouldn't be the only criteria that allow the application to move to the next level. Maksudnya, they have to be synergistic with the other remaining criteria parameters.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Irfan, for answering Prof. Khairul's question. So, is there any other question from the floor we'd like to ask directly to Mr. Irfan? Anybody? Okay. Personally, I also like to ask one question. Come across, right? So, what do you think, Mr. Irfan? What's the difference between the completed project, which is our research project that we generally do, which is you already publish it in journals, article, we put it in a UPN repository, all this journal reputation, and with the registration with my IPO. So in terms of protection, was it the same or different? And
Okay. Thank you so much. That's also another interesting section, about IP, legislation, and prosecution. So there are two different things. your paper publications and your patent protection at the MyPool. Okay, they're two different things. If you're looking at monopoly or exclusivity in the market for your invention, you have to go through patent legislation. So your paper publication remains as paper publication. They do not grant you any protection in terms of your idea, in terms of your invention. So in this case, there's always sometimes a chicken and egg, but it's very clear. But the law says that if you publish your not necessarily publish, if you make your invention, okay, disclose to the public, okay, and you may prejudice your patent application kat sini. So if occur within 12 months, yes, it can save you, but you can disregard this as a prior art. Then this one might survive. But what happens if another third party comes in between there? Okay, your publication in January 2021 and your patent protection in October 2021, which is 10 months time from the first disclosure. Okay, you file a patent application. Therefore, under the patents law, your publication will be disregarded. Tak akan dikira. Okay, but this fella come in between ni before you. Okay, they read your paper. Oh, okay, I think we can work around this, reverse engineering, and file a patent immediately. I said, what if this fella come dekat in between, and then you actually, okay, your patent application is highly likely to survive in view of this. Okay, because this one come first, secure the earliest filing date before you. Okay, so this is what will happen. So apa yang kita cakap adalah, you always get patent protection first to be safe. And later, lepas you file the patent applications, you want to publish in 100 papers ke, 100 platforms ke, you can do that. Okay, but now, if your interest for commercialization, okay, if for example, this is high valuable technology, you publish because of you want to become the first person, okay, have the impactful research on that particular technology, to be known as the first researcher that publish a patent, the paper. Okay, in your race there, you're basically compromising your protection here, which later going to go for the commercialization. So now macam mana? So I have to strike a balance between that. So if you know for sure that in 3 months time, you have submitted your paper, in 3 months time, that basically, down the road, will be published, accepted and published, and you have to ketuk pintu PSP, hey, we have this, please expedite this. It's scheduled to be published in 3 months time, we have to do this. This is groundbreaking. I think all of us are human, then we understand that, okay, we understand your urgency, and then we're going to put this as a priority and join our next internet committee presentation, present and everything that you have, 10 minutes time, tell us everything pasal invention. If yes, and then we expedite and try to meet the deadline before the publication. So remember, if you want to go for commercialization, kalau you cannot rely on paper publication, they won't give any protection for your invention in terms of in respect of commercialization. So file a patent application first, register first, and subsequently you go for publication.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Irfan, for the clearing the thought and advice. So is there any other question from the floor before we end? Any question from the participant?
Unmute your mic and then just feel free. This is a career discussion, just ask apa yang you nak tanya.
Hello, hi, can I ask a question? Sorry, I cannot type on the chat because I'm currently driving. So is it okay if I ask the question here? It's Dr. Rosalam here from UPM. Right,
Yes,
so,
Dr.
okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Irfan, for the great presentation. It's really clear and insightful. Okay, I have this question regarding for example, if you were to work together with a company for a collaboration program, right? So is it necessary or is it important to have your inventions or project to be protected first before you go for the collaboration with the company? I know there is a way for you to work it out, right? To work with the company in terms of the authority of that protection or authority of that invention as well. But is it for us researchers as a university academic staff, is it necessary for us to really have it protected first before we go for the next level? That is question number one. And then the second question is that does your company provide sort of this commercialization chances for the applicants? I know your company do protection, but do you also provide sort of the commercialization? Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Salam. So basically, if you want to disclose it to any third party, not necessarily industry, or even to your colleagues at different departments, so you have to remember to preserve the secrecy. You have to preserve the secrecy about the information. So because you haven't filed any patent application yet. So in fact, even if you file a patent application, you still have to observe the confidentiality of the invention. So we're not going to spill the bean entirely to any third party easily as that. So because it's a form of our asset. So in that case, remember that we want to preserve the secrecy. How to preserve the secrecy? Of course, you can have the NDA, non-disclosure agreement with them, get them signed first, and then know it is a binding agreement. So you cannot leak out this information to etc. NDA. The second the second requirement is that not second requirement. The second approach is that since you are working with the universities, and then rope in the officer or the group from PSP. So bahagian pelindung harta intelek to join on board with you. So that they will be able to understand and let you know that there's certain degree of information, certain extent of it, not necessary for you to disclose. So when you talk to industry, usually you go on the level surface, surface level of the discussion. If they are interested to know more, and then appropriately let them know that this is proprietary information. So we have a SOP standard at the university. So we have to observe that. And in order for we could arrange a further in-depth discussion with this. So we're going to arrange with PSP. PSP come in and then help us with this. So always rope in so that nanti when you go for the commercialization, so it's much easier for you. Rather than you have discussed with industry and down the road you make a decision already and then you agree to something, only then you masukkan on PSP. There could be something that conflicting to the university's policy or maybe conflicting to certain other things that difficult to be remedied at that point of time. So rope them in at the earliest stage of discussion. Maybe in the shadow, not necessarily in the background, keep them updated. Just let them know that you are initiating discussion with the industry. So they basically have the checklist. Get the NDA done, or maybe get things done black and white. So let them email to you. We will arrange, certain things, and then we go and visit them. Or maybe if they want to come to visit to the facility at the university, there are also certain things, like macam orang datang rumah kita. It's an open house. Yes, it's open house, but up to the living room je. So you cannot go to our bedroom to go to to the kitchen, etc. It's an open house, but limited in a way lah. So maksudnya, if you don't want to go visit your lab sekalipun, you have to make sure that certain things are preserved. So the other part of the lab is not there, or the lab report or the lab everything, the information must not be open for them to see and check there. So there's no copy can be taken, and then no photograph, etc. All of these things must be observed. It's maybe a minor thing. Sometimes it's not easy. Cik tak boleh nak ambil kamera. So this is something like for industry, it's look like you want us to come in, but at the same time you don't want to let us in. So you want us to take out your technology, but you don't want to say anything about it. Boleh. So for industry, yes, we can disclose this to you, but properly. So we have stage by stage. We have a proper agreement to help you with this. Check, and then you're interested. We sign a MOU, MOA. We take it from there. But we maintain that exclusivity lah. Kalau ada industry want to come in, and this is how the negotiation take place. And I think PSP have the experts, dalam ni. And our side, so we have at the IP firm, patent source and interest, we have our clients in negotiation. We have our client in terms of licensing of their product. We have our client in terms of commercialization, and match and become a negotiator with on behalf of client to the industry. So sometimes this is where that we translate the academic research work into less technical work, so that we speak the same language with the industry.
So the medium here, this is the role that we play, and also the role that PSP could play the role to summer. So advantageously, we also have represented the industry side, okay, to talk with the research agency and so on. So having all this what they call exposure, experience, okay, and then this is where we share with you what are the insight from the other side of the world, apa dia nak. So what have you done so far is not actually bringing the matter forward, but it make it stalling. Dia tak bergerak, it's stuck. So what happened? So human factor is very important thing. Negotiation skill nampak je macam simple, but the way you represent university, the way you present, the way you treat your potential taker, play a bigger role than you imagine. Okay, when you want to transfer this knowledge to industry, we hope that they take up and commercialization technology. So in short, yes, we do. If Dr. Salam have some concerns about the technology that I think you need help, and feel free to approach us, and we see how we can help you with this. At the same time, we're also aware about the university's policy, and we see how from our expertise that can help you talk to the industry, or maybe you already have the industry and to iron out certain things. Okay, we are more than happy to help you with that. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Irfan, for answering the question. So, any more question? Maybe for the last question to Mr. Irfan directly on the floor. I guess that's it. Okay, thank you again, Mr. Irfan, for answering those questions and for the great presentation. All right, I hope all of you have learned something new on this topic and start commercialize your research output moving forwards. All right, and it was a pleasure to have you with us to share your valuable thought and new knowledge shared. And thank you also for those attending. And we hope you have learned and enjoyed this presentation. All right. So lastly, reminder again, those that yet have filled up the attendance via a link in the chat box, please fill up and you can gain your e-certificate. And for your info also, the host will upload this webinar recording in the FRCB Facebook page after the webinar. And this, for those want to refer back to the presentation, they can do so in our Facebook page. All right. So to that, this conclude our special webinar. Thank you again for those coming, spend their valuable time and to coming for the presentation. And thank you again on behalf of the faculties. Thank you again, Mr. Irfan, for your wonderful sharings and thoughtful ideas on the commercialization of intellectual properties. Right. To that, yep. Thank you. So
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe. If you want to take a photo with everyone, camera. And...
Yep. Think for Noshida. Take photo, eh? Right, can you turn on? Everybody can turn on the camera. Give a golden smile. Right. Hope everybody can.
Camera.
Everybody, please turn on the camera so that we can and stay